Howdy, I'm Repton, and this is Repton Does. It's time for some more blueprints. So today we're going to take a look at probably start of a series for stacked modular blueprints. Now the intent here is that with each build, each set of blueprints, they would fit in the same space. So this is taking a look at actually 12 smelters stacked. And the way I build these, you can actually go wide, or you can stack, or a combination of both, depending on how many you need. Now, do be aware, I'm going to build these with Mark III belts, but if you build enough of these, those belts would not be able to feed the machines fast enough. So make sure, if you build these with Mark IIIs, because that's where you're at, you may have to come back around and swap in better belts to meet the demands. I've got some big builds coming, I think, and we're going to need to speed up how we build them, so these blueprints are going to be important. And I think, leveraging verticality when we can, or when it looks okay, is going to be even more important, right? We have sort of finite space on the ground, so got to start thinking about going up. So with that, let's jump in and take a look at how this comes together. Alright, so we'll hop over to the blueprint designer and we're going to grab a smelter. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the center of that foundation, then we're going to come in 2. So 1, 2, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So just where it turns, so we get it in the blueprint designer, and then we go 1, 2. All right, perfect. They should be lined up. Now we are going to lay down our splitter to bring the resources in. So this should go right in the middle, right between the two. Okay, and then we're gonna need a way to bring our products back out. And so we want to go up above, and then we're going to actually need to go offset. The reason we go offset is because when we want to stack, we're going to need lifts, and we don't want those lifts clipping into each other. If you don't mind that, you could certainly put this straight, and it would actually end up saving you steps when we start thinking about stacking. But for now, we're going to offset that right there. We can clean this up. And let's drop in some belts. And get our lift. And lift. And connect this. Oops, did I put the wrong thing? Oh, I did. Dang it. So, yeah, up there, that's actually a merger, not a splitter. We're splitting coming in, merging coming out. So again, we'll stack those up. And just remember, we want to offset. Again, if you don't mind the lifts clipping, you can just leave it right in the middle. And again, that'll save you some steps when we get to that. Clean that up again. Belt in, belt in. Now, I like to use the framed walls and framed floors for this. We're not going to leave the walls on because I've noticed that if you leave them on, you can't build this again on the blueprint designer, which we're going to want to do as we want to build out potentially other ones. So you go 3 walls up, then we'll grab our... You can leave the floor, and we're going to do that because it'll make it easier for us to stack on when we're ready to do that. Okay, so we now have 2 smelters, we've got our floor, we've got our input and our output. And then what I do is save this as, my smelter stack base. And of course, give it an icon, smelter. So we're going to save that. Now, you could be done right here, right? So we have something that is modular and stackable, but there are a couple of challenges. So let's come over here. Let's grab our smelter stack base, and we'll go ahead and put one down. Right, so now we would bring our ore in here, and our ingots would come out on the top. And if we wanted more, we could just, there's 2, 3, 4. Right, so now I have 8. Obviously they're not connected, right? So we don't have any power connections. We don't have any belts really ready to go here. So you'd have to come back in as you were building. If you left them like this, and that's the blueprints you'd want to do, you'd have to remember to come back in, connect your belts. Both. There's my inputs, and then we want to bring all those ingots back out to the front. But we would have, pretty quick, that's 8 smelters hooked together, ready to take in ore and pump out ingots. But we can do better, so let's clean this up. Let's go back over here. Now first, let's drop some power on here. And what I like to do for that, we're going to use the painted beam, and we want to be offset over here. So we really want to be right there on the second one, so not where the frames connect, but actually the middle of a foundation. And then we're going to come down about 4 meters. Right, make sure we're not clipping anything. And then we're going to attach the wall outlet right there. And connect power. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Now, I like obviously the green and black color scheme, but for that we want to have it match our frames like it was part of this frame building. Now as we added those, you just connect those wall outlets as you're going straight back. But again, this is, our updated base, so we'll save that. But I would encourage you to build out, right? So if you want a 2, a 4, a 6, or an 8, go ahead and put that in here and pre-connect your belts. So if we want a 4, a 6, or an 8, so let's go ahead and make sure it's lined up the right way. See, this is backwards, so if you put that down, you would not be connecting correctly. So make sure it's lined up the right way. Having that offset also helps you see that. So we'll put down, so that's 4, and then you could come in, connect those belts like that, and then save this as 4x smelter. I call these flat, right? We have not really stacked anything, so we've just gone flat across, right? Not really stacking, even though ultimately we're going to be able to stack these. And then you save that. Let's make it a 6. Again, make sure it's facing the right direction. And drop that, and then our 8. Same deal. Ooh, we already dropped it. So let's drive that belt. So we actually have our 8. So we skipped our 6. We won't be able to save that. You could remove that blueprint and save it. Not a big deal. But we'll just save this as 8. And go. Now, you might think we're done, but we're not. So let's go slap one of these down, and let's say we wanted 8, but we want it to be stacked. So grab our 4x smelter flat, and we would think, well, I'll build that, and then I'll just come up on the top, get it lined up, and put it right on top, right? Well, you probably can already see the problem. So this is coming in from the front and we're feeding to the back. We would either have to split right here on the front and continue to do that and then have two different outputs coming here. If you want to connect these, you have to flip them around. But if we flip this around and just build it like this, we have a different problem. Now our outputs, right, so now this would feed to the back, we could have a lift and connect it, they're on the wrong side. So we need to build a mirror image of this one for kind of the even layer, so you'd end up calling this maybe, you know, 4 stack odd, and then you'd make the even version, which is going the opposite direction. So let's take a quick look at that as well. So, and for that, we'll just clear our blueprint designer. We'll load our base, because this is basically ready to go. It's just a couple of pieces are facing the wrong direction, right? So we need to remove this, remove the belts, this, like this. Alright, so let's bring our splitter in. Only this time we want to come in from the other side. And then we're going to stack up. And let's get merger. Oops. Again, we're going to want to be feeding out to back towards the front again, right? So we want to come all the way to the back so that we can go down the lift, and then on the next row we would be going out the front. So again, it should be opposite of how we're coming in. So we're coming in this way, we should be going out that way. And this time we want to shift it over this way so that it will align with our previous blueprint. So we'll just clean these up. And now reconnect your belts. Even if you could snap on this case, you know, you could let the belts maybe and try to snap on it, and it'll look like it works, but they won't really be connected. And so you'll have stuff running and ingots will just be sitting there. They won't run through the merger. All right, so now this is our smelter stack base. We'll call that even. Alright, so real quick, let's just go put one of our flats out and then put that on the top and see if we look better. So we'll bring out the 4x flat, and let's grab our even. And let's just push it to the back just so we can make sure all our lifts would line up. Now, again, we want to make sure we're facing the right direction, right? Otherwise, you'll have the same problem. So let's go ahead and build that. And let's just come around the back and have a look at our lifts. So here's our resources coming in on that bottom line. We come up, snap that right in. Now we're feeding our second level. Producing ingots, we want to come back out, come back the other direction, and feed in with all of our other ingots. So you can see this is modular, it's stackable. You could actually get this tighter if you want to. I like the space, which is why I have the smelters in the middle of the foundation. So now you can go, 2, 4, 6, 8 flat. Just again, keep in mind, you can only handle about 9 with the Mark III belt, so thinking 8, 10. But because you can do 8 on the bottom, you can definitely do 8 on the top, so you could have 16. So you can have any of those combinations, name them flat and stack, and then you're ready to quickly build out factories, large smelter operations, which we're going to be looking at doing with copper and iron. Yeah, so I think that's it. This will be a series. We'll do this with constructors. We'll do this with assemblers, and I believe even foundries we can make work. So be on the lookout for those as they are coming up probably over the next few days. Again, if you like this content, please let us know. Drop us a comment. Love to hear from you, how you guys are looking at building your smelters. And please subscribe and like. Would really appreciate that. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.